So welcome to the Railway Laser Lines How to Build series, and this is our brand new 2-road shed, and this is currently the 00 gauge. We will be doing the O gauge, so those who purchase the O gauge can watch this video. The build would be near enough exactly the same. There'll be a couple of little differences, but I'll mention those during this short introduction. So the video here that's showing you the 2-road shed premium kit through road, and obviously inside is the West Hill Wagon Works interior depot kit that this has been based around. It just made no sense to have a backman shed around the West Hill Wagon Works kit that you couldn't see. So with some inspiration around the eastern region depots like Tinsley, Shirebrook, March, Frodingham, Immingham, all those kinds that all had their glazing sides and fronts, had a similar feel. This is what we've come up with. Now this is a pre-production model. There will be a few little changes. It's mainly to the doors. I try to be clever and have open doors, but it's just going to become too complicated. So the production model will have closed doors. It'll be a full acrylic, and you'll just be putting a door panel over the acrylic in the way, front and inside. So that's changed. Not really a lot else has changed. I think I've changed the grille slightly, and there will also be an internal support inside as well, which will hopefully make it look a little bit better. The walkways, now these are really tricky to do. I did these because the walkway is made up of 2 parts, and the holes were only in the top part, which was literally 1/2 mil, and 1/2 mil to put these in wasn't really enough. So I've made the holes go all the way through. So you've got to line those 2 panels up, otherwise you'll end up having trouble putting these on like I did. So you might need a tiny little pin drill piece about 0.8 wide just to put it in one hole, so you know you've got it correct. It will mean pushing these through, and then you'll have to have a tiny little bit of card or something just underneath to push it back up. It's the easiest way I thought. This was just too tricky, and I think a couple of them haven't actually gone in the holes, but we got away with it. So I've just amended that slightly. So this is the premium kit. So the premium kit will have roof windows, walkway, safety railings, ladder, and the down ladder. And as mentioned in the video, I think I'm going to put the ladder the same side. At the moment it's down there. It doesn't make sense. They both really need to be the same end, so I've changed that as well. That's the inside. Obviously that's the West Hill Wagon Works kit. Doesn't come with the kit, but obviously this is what it's designed around, and it fits and slots nicely over it. Obviously you can use this as a standalone kit as well. You don't have to use it with the West Hill kit. And internally with the premium kit you get your interior breeze blocks on the standard model, and here is a dead end version standard. There's just white card pieces that you can just spray, colour of your choice, and fit in place. And obviously on the standard model here you've got concrete panels instead of on the premium one, brickwork. So again, these just need painting. They've got engraved lines, and again there's some slight changes to the door. It was slightly smaller on the inside and the outside, so I've changed that, and that is just a plain standard one. So again, it's just a standard roof, nothing exciting, no premium kit like that one. So you can have a choice if you want to have just a plain shed. And again, down the sides it's the concrete panels. One worthy mention is the centerpiece here. When it's flat, this should all be, obviously when you do the acrylic sides, and you'll be doing one acrylic side added to the roof trusses, then a side acrylic, and then you'll be adding the end pieces. You just need to make sure that the end pieces are all correct and level. They should be. It's when you come to add your brickwork or your interior panels that you might end up not putting these in the correct position, and then making this protrude up slightly by a mil or something. And also, if you're doing it for the West Hill Wagon Works kit, this part here, now MDF has a tolerance, I think they're using 2 mil MDF. I tend to use 2 mil. It could be anywhere between 1.8 and 2.2. and if it's under 2mm, you're going to most probably get the smallest gap under here. Now obviously there is a framework that goes over the acrylic, which I've done here. You could drop it down slightly just so it fits slightly, but I'm suggesting that when you build your Westhill Wangworks kit, you don't add this piece until the very end. So don't glue all these in position. Make your shed up, make sure it all fits nice and flush, and then put this piece in. If it doesn't fit flush, you can always add a little bit of extra glue in here. The only downside is you've got to be careful that it doesn't then protrude up above the rail, but you should be okay. I've just made that slightly longer by about 0.05. The laser cuts by 0.04, so that may help. But as you can see, it does move. It's always going to move. You're never going to get it unless you actually build it into the framework base, but that's not the case here. So just be aware that when you come to do your Westhill Wangworks kit, if you haven't built it already, that is to not add this piece until the end, when you know this is flush with that, and you can build up the level slightly. Hopefully that makes sense. Moving on to the dead end, just aware that obviously there are 3 layers on the side of this kit. So you have an acrylic side, and then onto that frame you have your model board window framework, which goes all the way down, and then you'll either have your brickwork or your concrete panels. So there's 3 layers. Now I don't know how much glue you're going to use between each layer, and it makes an effect to how wide your brickwork or concrete panels end up with. So you may end up having to do some filing, filling, etc., purely because you've overdone your glue or you haven't done. So I'll most probably, on the concrete panel, make it slightly longer. But the brickwork is a little bit difficult because obviously you've got to have a half a brick at the end. There's no point having a third of a brick. That just wasn't the case. So I'm going to make sure that the half a brick finishes this end, and if you have to do any filing or anything, you do it this end where it's not going to show so much. And again, with the concrete lintel that goes over the top. Now the standard through road kit has the part that just goes around the ends on both sides. Self-explanatory. Done that exactly the same. Now obviously on the dead end, the left hand side is longer than you would have on your through road. On this side here, it's the same as the through road. So we then added another piece of concrete panel. So again, you may have to trim this piece to fit. I just don't know how much glue you're going to add. So just be aware that you may end up having to trim to fit or fill. It could be either or. So just bear that in mind. Any questions or queries you have on these builds, please message me on the Facebook Railway Laser Lines page. Now I've recorded all these recordings during the build of this one. I think I've added a couple of pieces when I did this one. So it's been done over a number of days, a couple of weeks. So I may have missed something when I've built it. I may not have filmed it. Hopefully that's not the case. But it is pretty self-explanatory. Hopefully it'll be okay, but please get in touch if you have any queries. Right, I'm not going to waffle on anymore. I suggest you watch the video before you start making the kit, and obviously when you build your framework, you must put your roof truss in on one side and then add the side panel as well. And you're also going to need the following glues. So I'll just tip this one upside down just so we can show you inside. Now this one here, the standard one, I never went to town. Obviously you need to add the model board to the side of the roof supports, and you can see the joins. And obviously during the video I do mention about filling these with a bit of polyfill and sanding them. It's entirely up to you if you do. It does look better, to be honest, but it takes a lot of time and effort, and you've got to be careful not to damage the model board when doing it. Obviously the roof supports are exactly the same on both standard and premium, and it's just inside. Again, obviously you get your standard panels and door kit, and it's slightly changed. I think I just made it slightly different, but the idea is the same. And again, and here I've added one of those new interior supports with a divider in the middle as well, so that will be standard across the range now. So when building the kit, I can't recommend any other glue rather than Deluxe Materials Rocket Card Glue and Glue and Glaze. Now your Rocket Card Glue will add your card, your MDF and all those parts. Glue and Glaze will be your materials that you bond to the acrylic. Your Loctite or any kind of super glue is the super glue that you're going to need to use to bond the roof trusses that support and go inside the acrylic. It all needs to be bonded. And again, your acrylic panels where they join at the end, there's two tabs. I suggest that you use your cocktail stick in some super glue, dab it inside. You don't need a huge amount, and then add it to it. Now obviously you'll be doing the two side panels as I mentioned first, so the end panels slot in, so you could get some Tamiya masking tape and then just keep it in position. But again, by using super glue, please take care. Use gloves suitable for making sure you don't get any. And I use a cocktail stick. I decant it onto a piece of card or MDF and then just use cocktail stick and literally put it in where I need to. The roof trusses, obviously there's a hole down here, there's a hole up here where you'll need to add super glue, and I did add a bit of super glue to the edge of the roof truss where it goes in those two holes. Do not add any super glue down the side. It is not fitting to the side of the acrylic panel. It doesn't glue to the side, okay? So don't put any glue. You might want to use a bit of super glue when doing these parts, but I got away with using the Rocket Card Glue. You cannot use PVA on this kit. PVA is ideal for baseboards and things like that, but not on our kits. So you will need Deluxe Materials Rocket Card Glue, Glue and Glaze. They do a laser cut glue. It will work exactly the same as the Rocket Card Glue, but I just tend to find that Rocket Card Glue you'll end up using for other things. So there is a little bit more expense, but any modelers should most probably have these in their modding kit anyway. So right, welcome to the video, and we'll crack on and show you the build. And any questions, like I said, get in touch. So before we actually go on to the video, this is the O gauge kit. So your O gauge roof cross members will have H beams the same as your roof supports, and they will basically work exactly the same. You will be having some indents on the model board, and they slot into the roof cross members all the way up, and you add some glue. And obviously on one side you'll see these holes where they join, so you could add some filler and fill it in and make it nice and smooth. The other side you're not going to see because it's going to be on the roof, so you don't need to fill those. So that's only for the O gauge kit.